Thanks a lot for joining. Just getting started with the introduction. So Namrita is also from the 2022 batch. Meanwhile, let's begin with introduction. So Namrita, let's start with you. Would love to know just a bit about your background and what did you do before joining NMIMS and what do you do now because you have graduated. So would love to know a bit about that.
Sure. Okay. Hi, guys. I'm from Vadodara and I did my BBA before joining NMIMS. And post NMIMS, I joined as a consultant with Dow Centric in Bangalore. And I've been working on various projects now.
Sure, thanks. Aman would similarly like to have your introduction too.
Sure, thanks, Alicia. Hi everyone. Good morning. Thanks for joining in for today for this session. Well, a brief about me. I was born in Jodhpur, brought up in 6 different cities of India. Then got into Ahmedabad University for my BCom. Went to Rahman Sir's music school to learn music, Western classical music. Did that for about a year and then started preparing for CAT and MAT, all of these exams, and finally made it through NMIMS in 2019. 2019, then 2 years COVID batch, unfortunate one, but culled out the best that I could in those 2 years. Fortunate enough to get placed with Max Life Insurance. It was a campus placement under Future Leadership Program. Been 2 years with them, leading marketing for one of the channels of distribution of Max Life Insurance.
Thanks a lot for the wonderful introduction and nice to see that you were part of the music school. I do have a lot of questions like how did you manage to keep up your hobbies while pursuing MBA? We'll come back and cover all of that. So coming to Manthan would similarly love for you to get started.
Hi everyone. A very good morning. Sunday morning 11 a.m. Thank you for joining. So talking about my introduction, basically I've done my BCom from Narsing Manjit, and that was for the batch of 22. Post that I prepared for CAT and MAT, and I took all other tests. And I have been integrated with this Narsing Manjit ecosystem. This is my 7th year at the Narsing Manjit entire ecosystem, and that's about me. Currently, it's my second year of MBA, and I'll be on final placements this year. And I'm actually pursuing my MBA in the field of human resources. So I'm ready my MBA in HR.
Thanks a lot, Manthan. They would love for you to also similarly introduce.
So, hi everyone. I'm the latest of the bunch. I'm an engineer by profession and a fresher by choice, apparently. And I'm from Ahmedabad. Did my after my engineering, I went into CAT and MAT and got into NMIMS. And just SAP is gonna start in a couple of weeks. So yeah, excited for that, right?
Yeah, thanks a lot Dev, for the introduction. And many people would have questions why you're fresher by choice. We like to cover them later. So, getting started with Aman first. What has been the best part of your NMI life?
Fairly, it's been that, since it was online, not much to ponder upon why it was online, etc. The best that I could do was pick up internships, which were physical in nature, which where I had to go to office and manage them parallelly with classes. And that since it was online, I had much time to myself to pursue my passion, which was for opening up my own NGO, which is called Bombay Feeding Project. It's still running, and I could pursue my passion for piano as well. So yeah, that was the 2 years internship as well as my passion, which I could follow along with MBA.
That's amazing. We wish you the best for Bombay Feeding Project. Continue doing awesome work. Let's come to Namrita. What has been the best part for you for NMIS life?
As Aman also said, it was majorly online, but I think the best part was creating those memories even online, creating music online. Aman, if you remember, that was crazy. And it was an amazing experience. You get to see a lot of new perspectives when you join an MBA course, and you get to learn a lot. So yeah.
Here, we'll come to you. What has been the best part, if you could summarize?
So basically, from what I've heard my other friends in other B schools, I guess having a not on campus hostel, I guess for me, that's the best part as of now. And the Mumbai life, that's a given advantage any day. And yeah, the memory, the people that I've met in these couple of months, those are some of the best moments right now.
That's amazing. Manthan, what about you?
Can you hear me now? Sorry, there was some network issue and I just rejoined the call.
Yeah.
So, unlike the two of my seniors present here, I was fortunate enough that I got the opportunity to start offline. And the first year itself, entire experience, like the trim one is very hectic generally because we had more than 10 subjects. So the assignments, the group projects, and getting into the thing of entire group dynamism at any B school, that is something which is very exciting challenges. So that's something which excited me a lot. And along with that, I was also part of a couple of committees, and I am also the class rep for my team. So those two also were, are currently a great opportunity for learning as well. So yes, that's the thing I enjoyed a lot.
Sure. Thanks, Manthan. And thanks for pointing out that your life is an offline life compared to your super seniors who must be a bit jealous. But thanks. So let's try to take Q&A from the participants, and we'll try to cover as many questions as we can. So the first question is around how did you start studying for NMAT and what sources did you use? So we'll try to take answers from Dhya and Manthan since they are more recent, and then we'll move on to Namrita and Aman to add a bit, and then we'll do similarly for other questions which are more relevant for the alumni. So we'll start with Dhya, who is the most recent one. So Dhya, like, could you give some tips and tricks that people could use to?
So I guess since I did my CAT preparation from IMS, my faculty, my mentor said, don't do anything extra. Preparing for CAT will prepare you for NMAT. And there's just 1 week before the NMAT, I had a switch of strategy for NMAT since it's a time-based, speed-based exam. But apart from that, preparing for CAT is more than enough to prepare for CAT NMAT.
Got it. And Manthan, do you agree with that? Do you have anything else to add?
So, talking about my NMAT prep, so my major focus was always, the prep for CAT. NMAT was never my call, but there was from IMS itself, and he was the one who pushed me to register for at least for the NMAT, and he just insisted कि it's just a test. If you're prepped, if you have done the prep, you can just take a shot at it, and that's how I ended up filling the form for NMAT. And since I had prepped well for CAT, more than 80 to 90% of my NMAT syllabus was already covered. But then again, the IMS portal was something which was very beneficial. The mock tests which the IMS had, like there were around like 10 to 12 mocks test by GMAC, which is the official NMAT exam paper for them. So these were some things which helped me a lot because not only taking the mock tests but also analyzing those and working upon the errors and the mistakes which you have made. That is something which helped me a lot. 43 out of 360, and the cutoff was around 232. So that 243 was a very safe score, and I was confident that I'll be able to, convert NMI. So yeah, that's about it.
Sure, thanks a lot, Manthan. Meanwhile, we are facing still some issues with your video and audio. So, would request if you could rejoin once or try to switch to another network.
Sure, sure.
Yeah, thanks a lot. Aman, would you like to add anything for the NMAT preparation?
So I think things have changed pretty much for from the time that we had taken NMAT back in 2019 to the time that we are in right now. But having said that, the structure pretty much remains the same in terms of how you need to prepare. Mocks take as much as mocks that you can specifically for NMAT, because I feel CAT versus NMAT, the strategy needs to be tweaked and made more NMAT driven if you really want to crack NMIMS. So again, mocks being the number one. Two, what I want people to realize is that once they reach a stage of say July, August, you need to focus on two things. Either you ace the speed based game, which is the NMAT, or either you ace the difficult questions, which is the CAT kind of game, right? So you need to decide what you're good at. If you're good at say speed based game, then you need to ace up with respect to NMAT and mocks like those. And if you think that you're able to crack the difficult exams if given time, then you should focus on CAT and other exams.
Thanks, Aman, for bringing in that perspective of speed versus difficulty. That's really helpful. Namrita, would you like to please add anything on the preparation bit?
Yeah, as everyone said, NMAT preparation is pretty much covered in CAT, but mocks are really important because again, it's a little different than CAT. So
All right, thanks. So we have another question. I think anyone could answer. Is it like, do we have one or more attempts for NMAT, or it's only the first attempt? Maybe you can answer your other most recent one.
Yeah, so for NMIMS Mumbai campus, the first attempt is only considered. Whenever you give, the time is not the issue here, but the first attempt is only considered for getting into NMIMS Mumbai campus.
Got it. Thanks. So the next question we have is around the gap year and how to build a better profile. Would start with our alumni. So Aman, if you could mention about that.
Yeah, so I mean, I had a very similar story. I'll just brief everyone about my story so that a lot of things will be covered when I speak about that. So I was not a very brilliant student during my 10th, 12th, or graduation. If I give you my credentials, it is more like 10th was 60, 12th was 76, and the graduation was 55. Okay, so the graph has been consistently falling, right? So that was a major concern while I was preparing, but the faculties of IMS were kind enough to guide me to tell me that first focus on clearing the exams and then we'll nail the other problems later. So that's what I did, and then came again a gap, which was, say, when I graduated in 2016 till the time that I got into 2019 into NMIMS. It was more like, how do I cover up for the time that I was there? So I had joined my dad's business at that point of time. So 2.5 years is what I was at my dad's business, and that is what I had showcased on my resume, or the format which NMS gives you to fill in, and that's what actually kind of, and my only way to kind of clear all the paths that I had made, which was respect to the graduation score, 10, 12 score, along with gap, was to nail the interview and sound very confident of what I had done. And to back that up with the passions that I had, say, which was philanthropy or which was, say, about music. So what I tell people is that you are the driver of your own interview. You will decide your fate. If you may let the panel win, asking you questions, or you may take charge of the interview and drive your interview, and let the panel ask you questions basis that, right? So and the third trick which I want to give people is that give them hooks to hang on, which is talk about things that make you different from others. And once you give them hooks to talk about, that's when they'll clinch on it. They'll ask you, and the entire interview, those 30 to 45 minutes, you have to ensure that 60 to 70% of the time is you are driving the interview, and 30% could be the panel which could be driving the interview.
Thanks a lot for mentioning about your honest experience. I think that would be quite helpful. Namrita, what do you think? How can somebody better build a profile, and how has your interview experience been like, which would help somebody to prepare?
Yeah, so if you're talking about a gap year specifically, I also took a gap year, and I think you can do a lot of things. You can do internships, you can do your passion projects, you can add up some certificates, do some courses from Coursera. These things help in building your profile. And apart from that, interview experience, to be honest, mine was very short. It was 10-minute interview, and it was mainly about the profile, what I've done before. So yeah, but a gap year is not a big deal, but you should just make sure that you're doing something or the other to, fill up that year, and you can justify that. That's it.
Thanks for mentioning that we could do a lot of things like courses and other things to justify the gap year. That would be valuable. Manthan, what's your perspective on this?
Actually, it was very well summed up by both. But then, just adding on, one thing was talking about my personal experience. I was actually very much confused between taking about marketing or human resources. And also, along with my BCom, I was also pursuing CA. So I was also taking attempts at accountancy. So me and November, both the attempts I took along with my CAT. So my reasons to justify that. But then I did a couple of internships, one in marketing and one in human resources, and both those were added in my CV to justify why I had that 1 year gap. So that is something which helped me a lot.
Sure. Thanks, Manthan. In the beginning, your video was fine. In the last we were facing still some lag. So if you could,
I was just I'll just repeat what I said. Along with my CA prep, I took the CAT and NMAT. So I had that justification why was there a 1 year gap. And along with that, I also did a couple of internships in marketing and HR both. So all these things helped me to justify why I had that 1 year gap after 2022. So that's something.
Thanks. So I think there was a question also like, is it justified in case of CA prep? So I think that is covered, like
Yeah.
acceptable. Got it. Thanks.
Sure.
Dee,
And
what?
hence I mentioned that also question.
All right, all right. Thanks, Manthan, for covering that. So, Dhey, what's your perspective on this?
So I'm a fresher and I don't have any gap year. I graduated in May this year only. So I don't think I can answer this question, but just justifying what Aman, Namrata, and Manthan have said, I agree that it doesn't matter what your life has been up to now. It's just that the interview you have to get. First clearing the NMAT, that is the bare minimum. But then after, if you want to get into NMIMS Mumbai campus, the interview is the major focus that you have to crack. And as Aman said, you have to take the charge of the interview, and then you'll be sorted. So
Thanks, Dhey. So we have a question from the registrations, which is like, looking back, how has NMIMS shaped your career path, and what lessons do you have from your MBA days that resonate with you in your professional life? So we'll come to both of our professionals, Aman and Namrita, for answering that. So Namrita, we'll start with you.
Okay. As I said before, also, it gives you a lot of new perspectives. You meet a lot of new people. And one thing that I've learned majorly in NM is working with different kinds of people, networking, learning from different kinds of people. And that really helps you in your career, where you just have to deal with a lot of people. Other than that, I think the theoretical parts and things that you learn that helps you, for example, if you are taking marketing, that helps you in your placements and career, etc. That is there, of course, but the soft skills are again a lot important.
Yeah, thanks a lot for mentioning about the soft skills that also we could focus on. Aman, what's your perspective on this question?
So I think there are three ways of how I would want to answer this question. One was the exposure to the clubs and committees. So initially, I was hell bent that I really want to get into the placement committee because I had heard that there is another MBA which you do within an MBA, which is of being a part of the placement committee. Now, which was again, I made it through the placement committee in the first year, for which I had to compromise a little on my studies as well as being part of other clubs. But having said that, it was an exposure which I will never forget in my life. Again, you learn because the how corporate functions is also kind of very similar to how it was back then in Placecom, which was you learn to slog, you learn to work hard, you stop complaining about small things. So that was one, being part of the placement committee. The second was I think the case competitions, which without MBA, I don't think you can get that kind of exposure. So MBA gives you that gateway to case competitions, and if you're able to learn, so your making skills, your exposure to the leadership, your exposure of working across people from different dimensions, kind of increases tremendously, which even if you're doing an MBA and not being a part of case comp, you're not exposed to that kind of a thing. And the third, of course, the network. Being in Bombay, you're in the heart of the city. You're meeting people from all across India, different backgrounds, different academic backgrounds, different cultures, etc. And when all of them come together, live in the same house, study under the same roof, it's a different feeling altogether. After 2 years, all you take back is your awareness your world was pretty small before 2 years of MBA, and now you have evolved as a person. Now you have connects anywhere and everywhere across India. Whenever you need help, whenever you need referrals, that's how networking kind of helps you to navigate after corporate.
That's amazing.
Sorry,
Thanks.
after MBA. Yeah, yeah.
Sorry, I have joined from a different network and I've run from my mobile. Can you just go ahead?
Yes, sure. Thanks a lot, Manthan, for joining. I think your voice is much clearer now.
Yes. So just adding on to Aman's point, I mean, as soon as you mentioned about the placement committee, I could register myself. So even I was a part of the same committee for the previous year, and yes, it adds on a lot of value to your life. Like not just
Extrapolating that. So, coming to the next question around the student exchange program. So, Namrita, we'd start with you. Have you been part of the exchange?
I'm part of the IBC International Business Cell of NMIMS. So yeah, we do have an exchange program. Uh, it's known as ISR, International Student Resources. So in that we have students coming from outer universities, and we also send our students to there. But that goes in, I guess, second year of college. As of now, we are not aware of what and how it happens, but we do have a student exchange program.
Got it. Manthan, would you like to add anything on this?
I mean, so I have so we just had an interaction or just an introductory session about this student just a week ago. It was right? So we got to know that there are like around 25 to 30 international D schools which are affiliated with NMIMS, and so there is this I mean opportunity in case you are able to I mean in case you can afford that and you are up for it, you should definitely take up this opportunity because definitely it's like once in a lifetime opportunity to. And I mean, people who can go abroad to pursue their degree, that's a privilege for them. For like 2 to 3 years, they can go and study there and stay there. But for people like us, it's an opportunity to go for like 2 to 3 months, study one entire trimester there, interact with students there, along with here as well. So it's a very good opportunity if you want to grab it.
Sure. Thanks, Manthan. Aman, would you like to add anything?
Student exchange, zero idea. I was never interested in going for it, and neither did I dive deeper into knowing that part of MBA.
Got it. Okay, there's another question which we'll quickly cover, which is, are there any scholarships available for students that you are aware of? Anyone would like to take it up?
So like scholarship for the MBA, right?
Yes.
So I mean, talking about the scholarships and all, there are like there's always this when you know in Samaj. So there's always every Samaj or every caste which has some communities or has some mandals, which is the correct word, which do offer these opportunities. With there are I mean interest-free loans. There are fully guaranteed scholarships and all which you can go for. But apart from that, even like talking about myself, so I also I hear from my class. So 24 lakh rupees was the fees that I had when I had done my. So 24 lakh was something which was very difficult for me to arrange in a couple of days as well. But then there is SBI credit. So they are willing to offer quarter free loan. Take your offer letter. Once you get the offer letter from us, you have to submit that other documents like your dad's ITR or ITR, and they are willing to offer the loans, which eases the entire process of paying the fees. And there's always this mental burden which is I mean reduced, or you feel that freedom that the fee structure will not hinder my MBA. So that's something which you can opt for.
Got it. Thanks, Manchan, for mentioning about.
Just adding on to it, I think there is a merit scholarship in the first year of joining. Because one of my friend who had I think EIR of 5 in HR, he got in MBA, he got the I think a couple of lakhs of waiver in the final payment. So I guess there are merit scholarships available.
Got it. Okay, there are a lot of questions around preparation. I think which students are looking at you with, with a lot of hope to mention about how to prepare well. So, like there are questions like how to balance preparing for CAT and MAT, SNAP, and ZAT together, and 3 months enough. How do you schedule properly to prepare for both the exams properly, and so on. So, would like to. Like I know you guys have already covered a bit about preparation, but if there's any bit you can cover that can give an edge to the students because of the less time remaining, that would be very helpful, starting with Dhey.
So yeah, basically it's the same thing that we have said so far. Prepare for CAT because that will be the overarching syllabus for every other examination. That coupled with exam-specific mocks, and to give as many mocks as possible and analyze those mocks for at least a couple of hours. Because I guess that is one of the things that helps a lot. Analyze it yourself and then with a mentor, because having a mentor's perspective also adds on to what you are doing wrong and how you can correct it. Apart from that, have some reading habits, because having what's the current news in the life right now helps to gather information and help that in the interview process and other departments as well. Yeah, that's pretty.
Sure. Thanks a lot. So there's another interesting question, which is about the most difficult question you have faced in the interview, and how did you deal with that question. So Namrita, what's your perspective on this?
Um,
So there are two ways that I would want to answer this. One is that the difficult question as a term, could be very dynamic. हो सके they might ask you a very current affairs or general knowledge based question which you might not be aware, and which you might be taken off the roof listening to it, and you might not be aware. So there it's very okay to tell them that sir, I'm not aware about this, and but I would love to know if you could shed some light on it or something of that sort. Like respectfully, logically, and professionally tell them that this is something that you're not aware of, but you would love to know. There should be a zest to learn that you should reflect, right? We are not made to be aware about each and everything in this world. So there are going to be the things which you're not aware of, and if you're asked about it, as I said, respectfully, logically, and professionally, just tell them that you don't know and you would want to know. The second aspect, which is about with respect to your career, so how to tackle those so that none of the questions look difficult to you. I would want to take 2 minutes on this and maybe drive like a 5 step process. One is when you begin, when once you've cleared your NMAT and once you're sure that you're going to make it through and you're going to get an interview call, write your entire story down on a piece of paper, which is beginning from the day you were born till the time how you have made it through, how was the cat journey. Encapsulate the entire journey onto a piece of paper, and write the even the minuscule of details, the hardships, the wins that you faced in life. Please note it down, right? Once you do that, pick out 4 to 5 biggest USPs of your life which you feel you can talk about extensively, which is, say, what hardship you faced in childhood, what hardships you faced in your school, or something which you were really passionate about. Say you were a national level swimmer, so you want to talk about how you became a national level. So pick out those 3 or 4 good things from your entire story, and once you write your entire story, you will easily have 3 to 4 things, because people really struggle thinking कि क्या है मेरी लाइफ में ऐसा जो मैं एक्चुअली में बात कर सकूं. So once you write your story down, that's the step one, and you will be easily, I'm pretty sure, if you've reached here, कुछ ना कुछ आपके पास 3 से 4 कहानियां बारे में आप बात कर चाहते हैं, right? Now, the third point being that you are, as I said, you are the driver of your own interview. So the moment you sit on the chair, respectfully ask them to, grant you the permission to sit on the chair. That's when you give them an opportunity that once they ask you, tell me about yourself. From that moment till the time the interview ends, as I said, 70% you should be taking charge of talking, and not talking, but talking sensibly of what is being asked, and you deliver exactly that. So prepare, rehearse multiple times in front of mirror before going to the interview, and your story of your life should be by hearted. It should come out very organically, and it should not be forced. It should not be in a way that you're thinking too much before giving that kind of answer, right? The fourth being, as I said, to give them the hooks to hang on, and the fifth being, which a lot of people don't care about. I've learned it from my peers, but don't leave that opportunity, which I got as a guidance from one of the faculties of NMI, the IMS, was that when you get an opportunity to ask a question towards the end of the interview, don't say that no, you don't have a question, because that's when you can showcase that you know something about it, and you're more interested in learning about it. Say for example, sir, in my scenario, a major chunk of the interviews was about piano. Okay, how did the interest for piano grow? Why didn't you pursue it? And the third most difficult question which I faced during my interview was about the gap year, as well as the consistent graph falling in my career about education. So what if I flunk in the NMK exams and I'll ruin their entire placement ka scenario, because I won't be able to get placed if I don't score well. So how will you deal with that? So I said, sir, and how I answered that was that, sir, things which I'm very passionate about, say, which was music. So at that point of time, my goal was music. So I pursued that and I was able to nail that. And once I had focus on CAT or NMAT, I was able to deliver on NMAT. I got a score and now I'm here. So it's about focusing on the right things at the right time, and that's what I did to get into to get here. And hence, I would suggest that when you get an opportunity towards the end, do ask a question and leave them with a thought that, okay, he's a serious learner and he wants to learn. So these are my five good mantras. And of course, the sixth, which I think Dhey mentioned, which was about current affairs, be well read, because you don't want to leave an opportunity where, or a page unturned where you give them an edge to rate you that, okay, he didn't know current affairs. Okay, you were not well read. At least, jitna ho sake, there are really good YouTube channels, study IAS, study IQ. I mean, there are many now. So, unko, if you can, there is an app called Adda 247. You could refer to. You could solve questions. You can take quizzes on current affairs. So all of this will make your GK learning process very easy and also fun at the same time. So yeah, that's bit from my side.
Thanks
Yeah.
a lot. Yeah, yeah.
Yeah, just adding a couple of points to that. One was, as Aman said, your story should be there, but also when you prepare your CV sort of a document, make read every line and think of possible questions that can come to you on that line, like 4 5 levels of questions. For example, if you have done an internship, what did you do in that internship? What was the result of that internship? So prepare 5 questions for every line in your CV. That will really help you. And secondly, you can leave them, for example, as Aman said, leave them on hooks. For example, I'm telling about my internship and I mentioned something that probes them to ask me another question on the same thing. So that's how you drive your interviews.
Thanks, Aman and Namrita. Very, I think, wonderful thoughts, and the five-step process, or leaving them to probe, so that they could ask later. I think that is something which is very, very insightful. So thanks a lot, Aman. So let's come to the next question. So the next question is focused on HR and HR placement. So I think Manthan would be more suited to answer this. So Manthan, what are the opportunities for HR in the campus?
Right. So there are various roles which are offered on our campus. So basically, it all sums up to each and every individual. Like, what are the dream roles which you are looking out for? So there's HR consultancy. So even I did my summer internship just 2 months ago. I just come back from that, and even the role which I was offered was consultant. So I was always, pretty much sure that I wanted to end up in that role. Apart from this consultancy, there are hardcore roles which is about L&D, learning and development. There's talent acquisition, talent management, and so what I feel is that for the summers as a whole, 2 months period is something which is very less to decide or to end up to you want to get into. What I feel is that post your MBA, 1 month, 1 to 1.5 years is a period which you will serve as a management trainee to any company where you end up. That's the main period when you can decide what your trajectory and which you want to follow. But then also you can definitely interact with your colleagues, batchmates. Once they come from their SIT, you can also share your own experience and you can get a whole lot of idea that what are the various roles offered, what are the challenges which they face in that role, and then you can eventually decide. What I feel is that people go out for dream companies that I want to end up in this company, that company, this much CTC, that much variable and all. But post your MBA, since I am a fresher and there would be a lot of freshers as well. So one tip for them is that you always aim for a role and not for a company. I'm not saying that you go for any random startup and all, but then if you have got a choice between two good companies, always go for the best role, the role which you are inclined towards, or the role which grabs your interest, because that's where you will be able to contribute or optimize your skills. And post that, when you plan for a switch after an MBA, that is something which is very very at least HR like, it is something which is very simple and you can do it anytime you want. But yes, one tip is that you always go for the best role if you are planning to learn from your entire corporate experience.
Thanks a lot, man, for mentioning about focusing on the role and trying to choose that instead of the dream company. So, the next question is around cutoff. So, Dhey, I think you would be best suited to answer this. Like, people want to understand what score to get to clear the cutoff. And also, Dhey, adding on to that, I want to ask you, like you are an engineer and now you are doing pursuing your MBA. So for those who are in a similar profile as this, what advice would you give so that they are best suited for this transition?
So taking first question about the cutoff. So this year the cutoff for MBA core was about 234. So it's funny because my score was 237. So 3 marks above the cutoff. But when the final merit number came, my merit number was 227. I have seen people with NMAT score of 260, 270 having a merit number of 1,000. So this proved that having a good interview is all that matters in the selection process, in the final selection process. So yeah, I hope after you cut the NMAT score, you don't think too much about the score and you start preparing about the interview. And second, about the transition, NM is filled with engineers. So in my class itself, about 30 to 40% students are from engineering background. So in the interview process, once they ask what are your engineering degree, and they ask the basics about that, and they so in my case they asked, "Okay, why do you want to do the MBA?" So I just told that I want to get into a corporate world in the management role and not as a technical role. So you have to again narrate the story of your life and how BTech has helped you to get to some place that you want to be in the future. So yeah, it's easy for engineers to transition into MBA. And yeah, as I told, NM has about 30 to 40% of engineers, so it's not a big deal.
All right, thanks for making the engineers comfortable. So, Aman, coming to you, the next question is around how to prepare a good resume and how to make a ATS friendly resume. Does AI templates or something help? So, we'll start with Aman and then we'll have Namrita also to please add on. You are on mute, Aman.
I'm so sorry. So, again, there is a pre-MBA story which you have, and there is the post-MBA story which you have, right? So now that you're in a stage, Alicia, correct me if I'm wrong. You're asking me question post-MBA, how to make a resume, right?
Yes.
Right. So post MBA, the first thing, I mean, eventually placement committee will help you make the entire CV for you to get into good companies. But having said that, keywords play a big role when you mention about your key skills. Say, for example, you're going for a marketing role. So keywords like digital marketing, keywords like content creation, what I realized, which I didn't have as a perspective during MBA, was that you cannot use one CV for all your job opportunities that you look for. Say post MBA, once you get through campus placement, now you want to switch. So that's when you know what MBA may people don't teach us is that कि एक finance का बना दिया, एक marketing का operations का management का बना दिया. Now that you've already chosen in your life that you want to pursue marketing, so marketing maybe you should have 4 to 5 different kind of CVs which should be devised basis the job description of the company that you're applying for. Say for example, Asian Paints have come up with a product management role or a brand manager role. Then look what they are seeking, what skills they are seeking, and if those skills align with your skills, then put them into your CV basis those skill sets and not drive a generic resume for all your job applications. So this is one thing which will get you a shortlist very quickly. Two, this can be something which you can apply. Placement committee can help you to an extent to make a resume. But what content needs to go inside, they can do the sharpening, but the content part of it needs to be created by you. So make sure whatever you are putting is extremely authentic, something that you can back it up with great responses. And third, it is quantifiable and not qualitative. People usually end up saying that spearheaded the marketing department or this project for this period and driven the market research, etc., etc. Quantify it, saying that spearheaded this project, and divide your entire sentence of building the resume into three W's, I would say. What did you do? How did you do? And what was the outcome? Right. So if you're able to answer that into a sentence, what did you do? How did you do? And what was the outcome? It will automatically everything will fall into place. You'll automatically make it more crisper rather than thinking कि मैं क्या हर एक point को अगर ये देने की कोशिश करेंगे तो it will really help you make a very sharp resume and keep it more things academically जो internship में किया है वो ज्यादा highlight करें. Work experience अगर आपके work experience को ज्यादा prioritize करें. And as I said, keywords help you get the shortlist, so make sure you are very sure about the skills that is needed for the jobs that you're applying for. So if you know the skills, even if you don't have, try learning it and then apply. So that will make your chances really high to get into the company that you want.
All right, thanks a lot. Namrita, would you like to add on to that?
Yeah, so just adding on, I'm not sure Manthan will be able to tell us if you allow different seats. As Aman also said, you can use a lot of AI tools. You can use the format majorly would be the same because NMIMS is a fixed format while applying for companies. But you should add skills that are relevant to the profile. You should use the tools to have a good language and apply accordingly. You can take up courses to align your skill set with the JD, and you can also check scores for your CV online. Is it matching? Is it a good fit? And it's so on and so forth.
Thanks. Dhey and Manthan, would you like to add anything to this?
Just adding, to answer another question. I believe that we are talking about the post MBA. So of course, post MBA that we can make a number of series and we can apply to anywhere you want. But then talking about the roles offered on campus, the final placement. Of course, we still have that policy wherein we make four different sets of CVs for each specialization. And this is not about HR, this is about MBA. So at NMIMS, we have this structure where for the first year for MBA, there is general MBA, where you take up all the subjects, and then for second year, you choose one specialization, be it marketing, finance, GenMan, or operation. But for HR, the course structure at NMIMS is specifically only for both the years. So for HR students, we only have one CV, one set of CV, which is the final, and you cannot alter or make any changes once the CV is finished. But for the core MBA students, they have four sets of CVs for marketing, finance, GenMan, and operations. So they are free to. They are not free to, but then this is the policy which we follow, that for a role in finance, only the finance CV of of the student will be sent ahead to that company. So that is something which is the benefit when it comes to applying for companies, that the role which has opened for that specific company, only that CV will be sent to that company. So that is the best thing about the entire.
All right. Dhey, if you have anything to add, also there's another question regarding internships. Are internships mandatory in NMIMS?
Yeah. So talking about the summer internships, it is a non-credit thing, but then it is absolutely mandatory because it forms a part of your curriculum. Since post coming from your SIT, you have to take the faculty, wherein the one of the faculty is allocated a mentor. So for the 2 months of your SIT, you constantly have to interact with that faculty, and you have to discuss any challenges or problems or any suggestions which you would like to discuss with that faculty. And post those 2 months, when you come back to your college for the second year, you have to take this faculty bar, and there are specific set of questions which the faculty will test you upon, and only then once you are marked for the as a whole, only then you are eligible for the sitting on it. So SIP is something which is absolutely mandatory, and even if it's not mandatory, it's a great exposure and experience, like how the corporate world would be for MBA. So it's definitely a big yes that you should make sure that you end yourself a very good placement, and make sure that you maximize those 2 months of experience, and only then you come into the second year, because it's a completely different experience there as well.
All right. Thanks a lot, Man. So we'll just take one last question since we are short of time. And regarding those who are asking for the recording, this session will go on YouTube, so you can watch it when the public link is out. So let's come to Aman and Namrita for the question around package and placement. So what is the average package? People want to know about that. If you could mention in brief.
Namrata, you want to go first?
I think we should ask Manthan and Dhey this question because our average package is 2 years old. So
I guess Manthan can answer this question because we don't have no clarity of what will happen.
Sure. I'll try. I can take a shot at it. So, talking about the summers, yes, definitely we went this out like a week ago, right? So the,
So, what is the expected answer? Like, they want a figure, they want the companies, they want a role. What's the expected? What do you want
Yeah,
to know?
they are trying to understand for internships and placements, what is the figure like, what is the ROI like.
Yeah, I mean that is something which differs from company to company, of course. But then, if you I mean, depending upon your profile, if you end up making a pretty good CV, you can expect the stipend structure to be somewhere around 1 lakh per month at least. This is bare minimum. Okay. And talking about the final placements, again, final placement is something which is very certain because when you ask about the package, there are two aspects to it. One is the CTC structure because it involves a lot of variables. Like there is a fixed structure, and then there are additional bonuses. I mean, bonus. There are a lot of unfits and all. But then talking about the CTC, yes, you can definitely expect to cross the 20 lakh figure. Being fresher or having work does not matter. Okay, this is something which I'm talking about from my perspective. I can definitely be wrong about this.
Yeah, thanks.
Okay.
Aman, would you like to add something to that?
Yeah, so I think I would divide the entire batch, which is about 800 odd students or 700 odd students, and considering because I can't speak about HR, so I would divide the batch into 33% each. The top 33, I think, would be somewhere above 18 lakhs fixed and above. Fixed. I would not talk about CTC because that is quite dynamic. Fixed सब पता है और सबको वही सुनना पसंद है, तो I would say कि 18 plus top 33 या top 30 को जरूर मिलता है. Next batch of 33, which is the second category, would be lying between somewhere fixed between 14 to 17, 18. ठीक है. And the rest of the 33, which is, and now this is all what happened during my year. I won't be the right person to comment on what happened after us, but this is subject to my year, right? And the next 33 was between 12 to say 14 wala category. 12 in niche, I don't think there were a lot of companies they allowed. Hardly maybe one or two companies towards the end to get the entire batch placed. But rest assured that entire batch gets placed. The placement committee, the admin side as well as the student side puts in their blood and sweat to get you placed. And rest assured, if you've put in that kind of money, you will reap that kind of benefits as well. So try being in that top 33. Lot of luck, fate also plays a role. But again, if you have a strong resume which you've built across 2 years, and if you have past ka punya also with you, then the luck will surely favor you.
Thanks a lot. So just
And
one last, yeah, Namreet, go ahead.
just adding to it, the your placement is not your final placement, and you keep changing, you keep switching, and it's a lot more than the average package. It's about the role, it's about the location, it's the company culture, what you learn. So just focusing on average package or the package that you land is not the right parameter.
Yeah, thanks for bringing in that holistic perspective. So, just one last question before I let you all go is any personal advice that you have, or the most challenging thing that you faced during your NMIMS journey and which you overcame, if you could like to just share, coming to all of the speakers. Nata, we'll start with you.
It is a lot of challenges. It is a lot of new things that will come your way. No weekends, if you may. There's always something or the other happening, but it's meant to prepare you. It's meant to challenge you. So just enjoy and take up a few things. Don't try to cover everything in your MBA, like case studies or competitions, music, or the clubs and committees, studies. Don't pick up everything. Pick up three, four things and try to finish all of that. So yeah, that's my two take on it.
Thanks a lot. Aman, what is your perspective?
Yeah, I think more or less I've covered in what I've spoken. But again, make the best out of these 2 years, make great friends. These friends can really help you throughout your life journey in corporate. Of course, try being as participatory as possible in all the opportunities that you get. You don't need to win in everything, but of course, every participation is going to leave you with some or the other learning. And one thing which for people who are introverts, who are not very comfortable knowing other people, is I would like to sum up this entire session with a saying which says that every person you meet in this world has a lesson to teach and a story to tell. So, try interacting with as much as people you can. Try knowing, spend time with your faculties. This is the period where you can maximize your learnings, because iske baad, once you get into the corporate, there is no way back going to that kind of phase. So make the best out of it, have the fun, be competitive, but at the same time do everything which is respectful, logical, and professional.
Thanks a lot. That's very beautifully summarized. I have one last question which I do want to cover is around the marketing roles. Someone has just posted what kind of roles are there for marketing in very brief, if you could mention, Aman.
Sure. So, see, a lot of people have a notion that यार हम MBA कर सीधा brand manager बन जाएंगे, but ये सबका भ्रम MBA में जब placements होते हैं तब एक होता है. So, mostly all the roles that you get in the marketing are more to do at the level of, say, associate manager or manager, and mostly to do with either FMCG companies or media entertainment companies. There are very few finance companies which are BFSI oriented companies which come for a marketing kind of role. Now, the role that they offer could be, say, channel marketing, associate product marketing. You could go for social media marketing. All of this covered in the first year as a management trainee, and then basis. So the good part is that when you land up in a management trainee role, you have the choice of navigating your career basis, your corporate culture, as well as your organization goals, कि आपको वो किस डायरेक्शन में डालना चाहते हैं और आपके गोल से अलाइंड है. यानी if that happens, then you can go anywhere you want, being a part of the management trainee program. But if not, marketing to begin with starts with a role of, say, associate manager, where you're driving campaigns, you're a part of driving campaigns, you're driving social media content, etc. for them, you're driving channel distribution, etc. for them. So things like that.
Thanks. Yeah, Dev would love to know your perspective.
I'm a little surprised by Aman's assessment because from what I've heard my seniors say, so it's the basically we get this role of sales in the first year, or the first role that we get is that of sales. So if Aman is saying that we get the associate manager, I'm looking forward for that role.
Buddy, it's more like see, since she asked me about marketing, I got placed into marketing. There was never sales for me. I mean, from the marketing perspective, it is it. But management trainee, if you go to FMCG, as they mentioned, कि वो sales वाला होता है. First initial year, you're a management trainee. You're put on the field. You drive. You report to the area sales manager, and after 1.5 year, you become the area sales manager, then regional sales manager, then zonal, and way forward. So then you can land up in a role like brand manager after area sales manager or regional sales manager. You don't directly get to get into the chair of brand manager.
All right, thanks for clarifying, Aman. So yeah, they and Manthan, we'll get your thoughts also on any advice, last thoughts for the aspirants that you have. Starting with Dev.
I don't have any advice because again, for most of the people might be elder to me right now. So I'm following the advice given by Namrata and Aman right now, enjoying and having as much as I can in this couple of years, and just enjoying as much as I can.
All right, thanks, Manthan. Any advice, any challenges you would like to mention?
That's one thing which I followed. The day I got to know that I have managed and I would be BA from NMIMS, I actually had a thought, looking out for seminars because what the thought which I had in my mind was that I would want to experience the entire journey for myself. I did not want to end up having any prejudice or preconceived notions about my MBA journey before I joined it. So that's something which helped me a lot. And from the day one at NMIMS, I grabbed each and every opportunity which I received because everything was something which was very new for me. And that's something which helped me to make the most of all the opportunities a student is offered his or her first year. About second year, I can't say much because my second year has just started. So I'm looking forward to the opportunities which will come my way during my second year. But yes, first year was something which I enjoyed the most, like the most. Yeah, that's about it.
All right. Thanks a lot, Aman, Namrita, and Manthan, and to all the participants for joining and for giving very insightful, valuable thoughts. Yeah, thanks a lot from all the participants also. So thanks for taking out your time and mentioning honestly, genuinely what would be very helpful to the aspirants. And wish you all the best. And all of you guys have a great weekend. Thank you. Take care. Bye.
Thank you so much.
Thank you so
Thank
much.
you. Good luck.
Bye. Take care.